Welcome to the Dave Mierswa Show, the cutting-edge talk show about legal, political, and current issues. Practicing in both Wisconsin and Illinois, Dave Mierswa is a leading trial attorney bringing nearly 2 decades of business law, family law, personal injury, and estate planning experience to you. The Dave Mierswa Show, about the people, for the people, and bringing justice to the people. The Dave Mierswa Show, its guests, agents, and WRLR are not rendering any legal advice. All listeners are encouraged to seek legal advice from properly licensed and qualified professionals.
Good afternoon, friends and listeners. I hope everyone is having a beautiful, fantastic Sunday. I was just driving into the studio, and it looks like it's going to be a beautiful day out there. Man, I can't say enough about the weather. It looks like it's going to be getting up to 60 today. So, more importantly about the weather is this show. You just tuned in to the Dave Mierswa Show. This show is about the people, for the people, and bringing justice to the people. I've been a lawyer for almost 20 years, and I not only bring 20 years of trial experience, I also bring almost 20 years of street smarts and beyond that. This show is broadcasted live here from the WRLR studios here in Round Lake Beach, Round Lake Heights, whichever it is today. I don't even know where I'm going, but anyway, I got a packed show today. This show talks about hard-hitting topics most people don't want to touch. Social, political, and legal issues, okay? Again, this show is live every Sunday at 12 noon. All of my previous shows are located at law540.com. Go to law540.com and click under the radio hyperlink, and that you can get all my previous shows there. Also, starting January 1st of this year, I have started to record this show, and it gets uploaded to YouTube. That's right, you can see my face now on YouTube. It's a pretty face. At least that's my opinion, and I'm going to stick with it. So, today's show is going to be on the latest on 2016 politics, and also we had a debate last week. The Democrats had caucus in South Carolina this week, and then also I'm going to be playing the highlights from the latest in caucus with the Republicans. So I got a really packed show today. Let me get out my shout outs today, and then I'm going to get right into the show. I got a lot of stuff to get through today. So this is pretty cool. On April 16th, American English is coming to Lake County. Again, that's April 16th. Beatlemania invades Lake County. WRLR is proud to present an evening with American English, the renowned Beatles tribute band at Round Lake Beach Cultural and Civil Center, Round Lake Beach here. American English will perform their songs covering the entire career of the Beatles in the thrilling performance, which includes costume changes, special effects, and vintage instruments from the 1960s. They capture the essence of John, Paul, and George and Ringo. Doors open at 7. Again, that's April 16th of this year. I went to Independence Grove and I saw American English this last summer. And folks, I almost thought I was watching the Beatles on a YouTube. They sound and act just like the Beatles. They have the English accent. So pretty cool stuff. I'm going to buy tickets. If you want more info, go to www.americanenglishcc.patix. It's PEATIX.com, or go to villageofroundlakebeach.com. villageofroundlakebeach.com. You can find tickets there. I'm going to get these tickets again. That's April 16th for American English. Also, one of my causes that I have dedicated my life to, my wife and I have dedicated our lives to, is helping out people and animals that don't have a voice. I give a voice to. So another shout out this morning is Reach Rescue. They are a non-for-profit, non-kill animal shelter and rescue center. Better yet, they are a non-for-profit animal shelter. Also, right next door is a resale shop. you can donate. I got the brochure here in front of me. You can donate furniture, collectibles, housewares, linens, antiques, jewelry, garden, and also they have a bunch of other stuff that you can pick up for refurnishing your house. So again, that's Reach Rescue. They are located in Mundelein. So check them out. And they're located also on Facebook. So check that out. Again, that's Reach Rescue, non-for-profit, out of Mundelein. Also, one of my favorite places for animal rescue here in Lake County is called Save a Pet. Save a Pet out of Gray's Lake. So if you are with your family today, you have your kids around with you, and you're looking at doing something that your kids are not only going to love, but you're going to give back to the community. And instead of going to an animal breeder, go to an animal rescue place and get an animal from one of the shelters, and you're going to save an animal from an uncertain determination. So my wife and I spend a lot of time with animal rescue. I stopped over to Reach Rescue yesterday. Bud and Cindy run that. It's really awesome. They have 3 cats that greet you over there. And also they have a dog that greets you over there as well. So it is family friendly, just like this radio station and this show. WRLR strives to bring you live and also a lot of music that is family friendly. And this show is family friendly, so I strive very hard to watch the topics. I do bring cutting edge topics to the show, but they are family friendly. I want to give out a last shout out here to all of the volunteers here at WRLR. We are a family here. We are a community radio station that a lot of the people here volunteer their time. They're not getting paid to bring you a lot of the shows, and there are a lot of people behind the scenes that create all of the computer and all the infrastructure that goes in so we can broadcast live. So I can broadcast live every Sunday at 12 noon. So a big shout out and a thank you to all of the WRLR staff. Okay, they are the unsung heroes of WRLR that you don't hear about so often. Okay, those are my shout outs today. I want to get right into the topics today. Again, I'm going to be talking about the latest, what's happening with 26 politics with the Democrats, the Democrats and the Republicans. So my first tape here is going to be, what is Super Tuesday? Next Tuesday is Super Tuesday for the Republicans. There are 11 to 12 states that are in play. And the Republicans are trying to get the delegates from each of the states to be committed to them. That's what is at stake here. That is what is at stake here. Over 12 to 13 states are in play here. If you've been on another planet, and God help you if you've been, maybe it's a warm planet, but if you're just tuning in, I've been really focusing on what's been happening at the political scene, and we have what's known as Super Tuesday. My first audio kind of explains what Super Tuesday is. So let me place the first. I'm going to have speech problem here today. Let me clear that up right now. I'm going to play the first audio that explains what Super Tuesday is. So let me shut up and let me cue this up.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Jacob Sobrow for Why Tuesday, coming to you from California today, where I'm back at home. I hope you've been following along with us over the past couple of months as we've traveled to Iowa and New Hampshire and other places covering the early part of this presidential primary election season, the primary nominating process. Coming up on February 5th, I'm going to get to vote in my state's own primary. And that falls on what's known as Super Tuesday. That's the day that 24 states around the country are going to get to choose their delegates for the presidential nominating process. If this whole primary process and primary schedule is confusing to you, don't worry about it. You're not alone. The way you get your party's nomination is by winning state delegates, and the number of state delegates is proportional to the state's population. So while Iowa and New Hampshire are first and they get a lot of attention, it's really only a small fraction of the amount of delegates needed to secure the party nomination. For years, other states have been jealous about all of the attention that these early states get. So in an attempt to get some candidate love, states like Nevada and South Carolina have moved their own primary or caucuses up. Both parties agreed that Tuesday, February 5th was the earliest sanctioned day that other states could take part. And now, more than ever, other states have moved up their voting to that day. But some states didn't listen. Michigan, for example, moved their primary to January 15th, but the Democratic Party felt that this was too close to other races, so in response they stripped Michigan of all of their delegates. The same thing goes for Florida. Here's what Florida Governor Charlie Crist had to say when we asked him about the game of primary election musical chairs.
I'm excited about it. I think it's the right thing to do. To move our election up, to put Florida in the forefront, I think is very, very important.
Groups like FixThePrimaries.com are arguing for a federally standardized primary schedule, and they maintain that voters get cut out of the process when front-loading of contests occur. With every state party, in conjunction with the state legislature, free to schedule their own contests, any orderly national schedule just doesn't happen. Like I said, this year the DNC and the RNC have found themselves in a battle with their own state parties. Who loses in this case? Voters, pretty much. States are thinking of their own voters, but not our country's voters as a whole. To make sure that the voices of their voters were heard, 24 states decided to hold their elections on Super Tuesday. And with 24 states taking part, it becomes the nation's first quasi-national primary. States like California and New York and Illinois have huge delegate counts, and this day could be the deciding factor for both parties' nominating processes. And there's still a ton of states that haven't voted yet. By way of comparison, in early February of 2000, only 2% of delegates have been selected. This year, it's going to be over 40% by early February, and that's only 2 months into our 6-month-long primary election schedule. In the United Kingdom, elections last...
Okay, so that was an audio clip kind of explaining Super Tuesday. Super Tuesday could very well decide the fate of the election. We basically have 5 Republican candidates left. We've always had 2 on the Democratic side. Well, there was a third one and he fell out some time back. But there's 5 that are remaining. Really, there's a top 3 that are going to matter. I predicted that that Trump was going to take most likely the Republican candidacy for going against Hillary. All my predictions were uploaded to YouTube and also my website, law540.com. You can catch all of my previous shows on law540.com or go to YouTube and just search for Dave Mierswa, and then all these shows are uploaded there. So next Tuesday could decide the fate of America. That's how important next Tuesday is. So you should be watching all of the media next Tuesday night. It's going to be that important. Also, number 2 on today's agenda, last Saturday was the South Carolina caucus for the Democrats. Hillary won by a huge margin. Let's play her victory speech, and this audio clip came from Reuters. So let me play what she has to say.
Thank you so much from one end of this state to another. I am so greatly appreciative because today you sent a message in America when we stand together. When we stand together, there is no barrier too big to break. We've now gone through 4 early states, and I want to congratulate Senator Sanders on running a great race. And tomorrow, this campaign national. Despite what you hear, we don't need to make America great again. America has never stopped being great. But we do need to make America whole again. Instead of building walls, we need to be tearing down barriers. And don't let anybody tell you we can't make things in America. I know we can, and I know we will. Let's break down the barriers that keep people on the sidelines of our economy, especially women. Don't you think we've waited long enough for quality, affordable child care and paid family leave? Don't you think it's time for equal pay for equal work?
Okay, that was just a short blurb of Hillary Clinton late last Saturday night, when she was declared winner of the Democratic caucus in South Carolina. She took some hits before this, and she was trying to bounce back, and she got a lot of the minority vote too. So that's what she was looking for, capturing. And hats off to her. She's surviving the email scandal and so forth. But, I got some other things I'm going to be talking about, not just the 2016 politics, but while all the smoke and mirrors has been going on with the 2016 politics, we also have some other important stuff that I'm going to keep you apprised of. So, I was just talking about Super Tuesday, going in to next Tuesday. Let's hear what Fox News has to say about momentum and going in the next Super Tuesday.
And the focus now shifting to Super Tuesday. Who has the most momentum heading into the biggest prize of the campaign?
Yeah, the momentum and the numbers. Joining us now to weigh in is political strategist and president of High Noon Strategies, Lisa Booth. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
So let's talk about that momentum and the numbers. Who has it going into Tuesday, Super Tuesday?
Well, it's absolutely Donald Trump. I mean, we've seen him recently dominate in New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Nevada, and it's also a testament to the diversity of his candidacy in the sense that he picked up a state like New Hampshire with, moderate and more independent, liberal-leaning Republican voters, and then also a state like South Carolina, which has, 65% are the evangelical born-again Christians. And we also saw in Nevada winning with the Hispanic voters that turned out in the Nevada caucuses, as well as the evangelical Christians. And he heads in to the SEC primary, or Super Tuesday, on Tuesday with a commanding lead in the polls that have been done in those states. I think outside of Arkansas and Texas, he has a commanding lead. So he absolutely has the momentum. And then between Rubio and Cruz right now, it's really a race for second, because we're only in the proportional states. So they're really trying to vie for that second place finish and to pick up some delegates there.
Yeah, and as Heather said, next week, Super Tuesday, a lot to pick up there. You have more than a dozen states, including Texas, 600 delegates at stake. Lisa, how will we be talking about the results, you think, come next Wednesday?
Well, you're right. Not only is this a race for money and momentum, specifically if you're someone like Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz and you're trying to stay in this, because for those candidates, they're really looking to try to stay in this, to make the case to voters, to make the case to, the establishment types, that they're viable, that they can stick it out to March 15th, which when we're going to see the winner-take-all states, that will be important. But you're right, there are a lot of delegates at stake on Tuesday, which is the SEC primary. If you're looking at a state like Texas, we're talking about 155 delegates. But the problem right now is those states on Tuesday are only going to be allocated on a proportional basis. So for Donald Trump, it's important to try to take as many of those states as he can when he tries to make the case that his candidacy is inevitable after big victories in South Carolina, New Hampshire, Nevada. If you're Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz, if you're Marco Rubio, you're trying to pick up a state like Minnesota. If you're Ted Cruz, you're trying to win a state like Texas, where he's been up in the polls, and there's 155 delegates at stake to try to stay in this thing and make it to, the primary or the prime.
Okay, so that was a blurb from Fox News on Super Tuesday. And Trump looks like he's still in the lead. All the latest polls show that data. And I believe it was last Thursday they had a debate. And Rubio was on the right side of Trump, and then Ted Cruz was on his left side. And it was an interesting debate. I know that's up on YouTube. If you get a chance, you got to watch the whole debate. But there were a lot of fireworks, a ton of fireworks there. And I want to play an audio clip from that, and what Trump said about Cruz and Rubio. And like I said, there was a lot of fireworks on it. I would, if you get a chance, go to YouTube and watch that. It's pretty good. But let me play what Trump has to say about Rubio and Ted Cruz.
Well, my response is very simple. There is nobody on this stage that has done more for Israel than I have. Nobody. You might say, you might talk, your politicians all talk, no action. I've been watching it all my life. You are all talk and no action. What I've seen up here, I mean, first of all, this guy's a choke artist and this guy's a liar. You have a combination. You have a combination of factors. He can't do it for the obvious reason, and he can't do it because he doesn't know how to tell the truth. Other than that, I rest my case.
This is the typical thing he does. On any debate about policy, he goes right for the outrageous. You have the floor.
Okay, so that, I believe it was like an hour and a half, 2 hour debate. So that was just a micro audio clip of what went on. But I tell you, the fireworks was awesome. And there's highlights on there too about like all the insults and all that. And I got to tell you, I was listening to another talk show, and I can't claim credit for this. I'm always, this show's about honor and integrity and educating the public. And I always give credit where credit is due. I wish that I could take credit for this next blurb, but I got to tell you, it's a great analogy. So I was listening to another talk show, and a caller called in, and he likened the Republican debate and the soon-to-be Democrats versus Republican candidate when it gets narrowed down to one, and he likened it to the Roman Colosseum, and he called it a blood sport. And I just thought that was right on the money. The politics in 2016 is going to be a blood sport. And all the rules that everyone used to abide by are out the door. All of the topics that the RNC and the DNC wanted to control are out the door. And that is what is fantastic about 2016. 2016 is going to be laying new groundwork for new politics, and the RNC and the DNC are no longer controlling the media and the agenda. That's what I think is beautiful, arising from what's happening in late 2015 and 2016. We are talking about immigration. We are talking about building a wall. We are talking about all these other topics that the RNC and the DNC did not want to talk about. And that is thank you to Trump. Trump has put these issues in the forefront, and they are going to stay in the forefront. I'm not telling you who I'm going to be voting for. I try to leave my opinion out of it, but I try to share what's going on out in the world out there. And one of the things that I talked about from the beginning of this show, I started this show back in June of 2016. And I was talking about all of the rules that used to apply no longer apply. And one of the things that I've been stressing is that the Republicans and the Democrats have had enough. They had had enough of the RNC and the DNC. They have had enough of all the politicians going out to Washington, D.C., and then they caucus for themselves. They say that they're going to do one thing, and then they do another. And all of the starch Republicans and all of the starch Democrats, they don't get it. The independent voters out there, like myself, I used to be a Republican. I am now highly independent. I don't claim one party over the other. I take it issue by issue, but we are mad. We are tired of what's been going on in Washington. We are tired of the two-step. We are tired of the Potomac two-step. And they say one thing and do another. They say one thing to your face, and then they go to Congress and they try to hide what they're doing. And I tell you, folks, that is one of the reasons why I started the Dave Mierswa Show. I am awake, and all you listeners, all you friends and listeners are awake out there as well. So, I got just a couple more minutes here. We're going to be going to break. Let me see. I'm going to play one more audio clip here. This is Cruz talking about Ted. Let me rephrase it. This is Donald Trump talking about Ted Cruz. Let me play this next audio clip, then we're going to have to go to break.
I like Donald. He is an amazing entertainer. But his policies for most of his life...
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
For most of his life, his policies have been very, very liberal. For most of his life, he has described himself as very pro-choice and as a supporter of partial birth abortion. Right now, today, as a candidate, he supports federal taxpayer funding for Planned Parenthood. I disagree with him on that. That's a matter of principle, and I'll tell you...
biggest liar. You probably are worse than Jeb Bush. You are the single biggest liar.
All right.
This guy lied. Let me just tell you. This guy lied about Ben Carson when he took votes away from Ben Carson in Iowa. And he just continues. This guy will say anything. Nasty guy. Now I know why he doesn't have one endorsement from any of his colleagues.
All right, John, I
Senator Cruz, pick from the buffet there.
He's a nasty guy.
Donald has this weird pattern. When you point to his own record, he screams, liar, liar, liar. If you want to go...
Where did I support it? Where did I support it?
If you want to go...
Hey, Ted, where did I support it?
If you want to go and watch the video, go to our website, tedcruz.org.
Where did I support it, Ted?
Out of Donald's own mouth. When we
Where did I support it?
You supported it when we were battling over defunding Planned Parenthood. You went on television and said Planned Parenthood does wonderful things and we should not defund
Oh,
it.
it does do wonderful things, but not as it relates to abortion.
So tell me, what are the wonderful things? What are the wonderful things it does?
There are wonderful things having to do with women's health.
You see, you and I disagree on that. That's
not when it comes to abortion. That's where I draw
John, the reason I know that...
Hold on, gentlemen. I'm going to turn this car around.
John Roberts, Ted Cruz, with your brother, wanted John Roberts to be in the United States Supreme Court. They both pushed him. He twice approved Obamacare.
All right.
Okay, so that was another short blurb of what happened last Thursday. And they were just going at it. And the call-in person that likened the 2016 politics to the Roman Colosseum is right on the money, folks. It is going to be a blood sport. The 2016 national elections, when it gets dwindled down to the two candidates that I predicted, mock me here, it's going to be Trump and Hillary. And it is going to be nothing short of blood sport. You know, just amazing. So, let me get in one more audio clip here. This is an audio clip from Ben Carson. Ben Carson is fading. I know the reason why he's staying into the race is that whoever's going to be the next leader probably wants to write some more books and then become part of the Republican administration. And also, when we get back from break, I'm going to talk about endorsements. And then I'm going to talk about the Republican Nevada caucus that just transpired. So let me play the next audio clip here from Ben Carson, then we'll go to break.
Kasich, you have the floor. Governor,
I get a response to that.
You will have a response, but I promise Governor Kasich he can respond.
Can somebody attack me, please?
Okay, Wolf. You have the floor, Governor.
I get a response to that.
You will have a response, but I promise Governor Kasich he can respond.
Can somebody attack me, please?
Okay, here, Wolf.
Okay, that was Ben Carson. He was hoping that someone would attack him because during the debate rules, you get an additional 30 seconds to answer if someone mentions you in taxi in the debate. So let me go to break, and then we're going to come back, and I'm going to talk about the Nevada Republican caucus, the results there, and I'm also going to talk about some recent endorsements on the Republican side. So stay tuned, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes with the Dave Mierswa Show.